the Netilat Yadayim Chanukah Challenge. I'm so excited that all of you are here and that all of you are joining us. My name is Orly Wahba. I'm the founder of Abraham's Legacy and of Netillah. And it's great to see you on this very first night of Hanukkah. I know some of you might be still, Hanukkah did not begin for you yet, but we are in for a very, very exciting 8 days. It's great to see so many faces from the My Tehillim Time Jewish Women's Virtual Festival back with us. I miss you guys a lot. We have a great program in store for you, and Bezrat Hashem, more things on their way to you. Before I begin, of course, as you know, I like to give first some thank yous. And the first thank you goes out to Hashem for giving me the opportunity to be doing this day in and day out. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be able to serve him. Like I always say, Hashem, he's the CEO. I just happen to work for him. And I want to give a very big shout out also to Naomi from Naomi's Uplifting Events, who has really just been my partner in all of this. So thank you so much, Naomi. A big shout out to all of our speakers that are taking the time to share their beautiful words of inspiration with us. Rabbi David Aaron, also Rabbi Eli Deutsch, and Rebbetzin, Orit, Esther, Riter. I want to thank them all for taking the time to join us today. And of course, a huge shout out goes to each and every one of you. Whether you're already in Hanukkah or you're preparing, there's so many things going on. You're here, and I'm so excited that you're here and that you're excited and interested in figuring out how you can take this incredible mitzvah, this mitzvah of Netilat Yadayim, and take it to the next level. Because oftentimes when we do things and we do them every day, it just becomes habit. And we don't recognize and realize the beauty and the significance of the mitzvah that we're doing. And it's only when we place our intention do we really elevate things. That's what intention, that's what kavanah is. It takes something that is regular, that is ordinary, and it lifts it. And just like we spoke about the same kavanah, the connection to Tehillim, to tefillah, to the intention that we put in, today we're going to focus on the mitzvah of Netilat Yadayim and really elevating it. And over the course of this entire week, each and every one of us are going to have the opportunity to infuse more meaning every day when we're doing Netilat Yadayim, whether it's before we're eating bread, whether it's in the morning when we wake up, when we come out of the bathroom, when we do Netilat Yadayim with our cup, we're going to have that extra intention. For those of you that may not know the agenda for tonight, what we're going to be doing in just a moment, in just a few minutes, I'll be introducing our very first speaker after 3 of our incredible speakers. And I'll be sharing as well, just a little bit as well about Netilat Yadayim and its connection with copper, its connection with nechoshet. After all of the incredible speakers, we're going to be doing a Tehillim read through the Abraham's Legacy Tehillim app. If you have never used the Abraham's Legacy Tehillim app, you can download it. It's a free app available on iOS and Android in Hebrew, English, Spanish, French, and it allows all of us to collectively complete the book of Tehillim in minutes with people from all over the globe. It is a free app, will always be a free app, in memory of my grandfather, Avraham ben Pauline. In addition, we are also going to be we've created already, and each of you, those of you registered, would have received an email with a link to a dedicated Tehillim circle for this specific week, for our 8 days of Hanukkah, as we're going to be embarking on this exciting journey of infusing more meaning and passion and excitement into Netilat Yadayim. You can join that circle. All of the links will be posted here on the chat, and you can also find them in the email. You can join that circle, and throughout the course of the week, you'll have the opportunity to read Tehillim at any point, whether we're reading together or whether you're reading on your own. You can also chat with the members in the circle. And Bezrat Hashem, we should complete books upon books. The exciting part is that whoever is going to complete the most chapters of Tehillim by next Sunday night, okay, in just a week from now, is also going to receive a gift of 100% pure copper Netillah cup, so that you can take that mitzvah and now even put more excitement and meaning to it and really bring Hidur mitzvah, elevate it to an even greater level. So we hope that you join that Tehillim read. Tonight, sorry that I got a little bit off track. After our talks, we're going to be doing a Tehillim read through the app. For those of you that may not have a smartphone, you are not excluded. Grab a Tehillim book. You could join with us, open up your heart, speak to Hashem during the 6 minutes of the Tehillim read, and all of that still works. And right after our Tehillim read, of course, we're going to do a raffle. Since we're talking about Netilat Yadayim today, of course, we're going to be raffling off 100% pure copper Netillah cup so that you can infuse even more meaning into your Netilat Yadayim. A couple of additional things before we're going to go into our speaker. This program that we're doing over the course of the week, we've created a WhatsApp group. Many of you may already be on the WhatsApp group, which is fantastic. Some of you may say, what are you talking about? WhatsApp group? How do I join? Not to worry. The link is going to be here as well. It's going to be posted here. Naomi's posting it in the chat. And if you've registered on the link, you would also have received an email with a link to join the WhatsApp chat. What is the purpose of this? Number one, it's a silent group. So don't worry, you're not going to be getting a zillion pings left and right, but it's meant to be able to motivate you over the course of the week. So Naomi and myself will be sending you a video each day to motivate you to continue to pushing forward on your Netilah journey. Plus, different people, Rebbetzins, Rabbanim, that have words of wisdom to share about this mitzvah of Netilah are going to be sharing it with us, and we then will be sharing it with you. Because as we know, when we do something together, when we set out on a journey together, we infuse a lot more meaning. We all get each other psyched because we know that we're doing this as part of something much, much bigger. So that is the purpose of the WhatsApp group. And of course, after the 8 days, you're free to leave. Don't worry, you're not going to continue getting pings from us. The purpose is simply to motivate and to inspire. So between that and the Tehillim circle that we have dedicated for this, you'll be able to join. That. If you're not sure how to get it or how to register, Naomi will also put the links here for you so that you'll know how to make that happen. I want to share very briefly, and then I'm going to be introducing our speaker. I'll be speaking more afterwards regarding the connection between Netillah and Nechoshet, how I got into this. A lot of you, Orly, what's going on? You're doing Abraham's legacy, you're doing this other thing, doing Netillah. What's happening? What is this? Why are you so fixated on Netillah? So I'll tell you, a few years ago, a cousin of mine that lives in Israel, who I happen to be very close with, and I love him very much, he reaches out to me and he says, Orly, I want to start something, but I need your help. I want to know if you want to join me. So I said, what's going on? So he said to me, I went to my rabbi, and I was having a very difficult time with parnasah. And I said, Rabbi, I don't know what to do. What should I do? And the rabbi said, do Netilat Yadayim. So I turned to the rabbi and said, Rabbi, I'm doing Netilat Yadayim. What's the chidush here? I do it. He said, no, do it with the pure copper cup, raw copper. So my cousin said, okay, I'm going to go find the raw copper cup. He tried looking for one. It was very, very hard to find. You have a lot copper plated, but the rabbi specifically told him raw copper. The raw copper should be touching the water. The ones that he found were insanely expensive. He didn't know. So he said, you know what? I'm going to make my own cup. So he went, he got copper, raw copper, and he made this cup and he started using it. And he said, as I was using it, I started asking a question. Why did the rabbi tell me raw copper? What is the chidush here? What's the purpose here? And as he continued to dig deeper and deeper, he started finding sources from the Torah, from the Gemara, from Kabbalah, regarding the mystical qualities behind nechoshet, behind copper, and its connection and its deep connection with water. I'll be sharing more about this later on in the program. And so he said, you don't understand, Orly, what's been happening. Things have been opening up for me. I want to be able to bring this back to Am Yisrael, because as he started researching and learning, copper was very, very much utilized as part of Netilat Yadayim. So I said, I love this. He says, the kior, look at the kior in the Bet HaMikdash. When Hashem said to Moshe to make the kior, where the Kohanim would wash their hands before going in to do Avodat HaKodesh, he didn't tell him to make it from gold or silver. He said, make it from copper. Why? What is going on over here? And we're going to talk, like I said, we're going to talk more about it. And when he told me, Orly, we have the opportunity to help bring into every household a piece like of the Beit HaMikdash. I said, I'm in. Piece of the Beit HaMikdash, I'm in. If we can help elevate people's connection to this mitzvah, I definitely want to have a part of it. And that's how I started this journey into Netilat Yadayim. But I want to share just briefly here, I want to talk about the concept of nechoshet. First off, Rabbi Aaron first had mentioned, right, the concept of having a cup that it has substance to it. And very often, again, when we become accustomed to doing things, and it just becomes a habit that we wake up and we just, pour the water on our hands and we say Netilat Yadayim and we continue going about, we forget that we forget what it actually has the ability to do for us. So ensuring over the course of this week that we have a cup there that is not necessarily, it's not cracked, maybe it's not a plastic cup, that we take something out that we're using in order to fulfill this mitzvah. It's a utensil. This is a spiritual utensil. There's, oh, well, I need the cup. It has to match with my kitchen. It has to match with this. This is a spiritual utensil that is bringing abundance into our life. What I want to share, what I want to speak about a little bit is the concept of nechoshet. What is the concept of copper? I'll tell you, and I'm going to bring just a couple of sources and I'll show you where you can find additional sources on the Netillah website. In Sefer Shemot, in Perek Lamed Pasuk Yud Chet, it states, "Ve'asita kiyor nechoshet, ve'kano nechoshet l'rochsa, ve'natata oto ben ohel moed uben hamizbeach, ve'natata shama mayim." Hashem says to Moshe, make for yourself a copper sink with a base of copper for washing, and place it in between the tent of meeting and the ben ohel moed and the altar and the mizbeach, and place water there. This was originally, this is a mitzvah that was given. Hashem gave this to Moshe for the Kohanim to perform before doing Avodat HaKodesh. But like I said earlier when we started, what material did Hashem say did he choose to use? You would think, it's very, very important. Moshe chose gold, right? Zahav. But no, Hashem chose specifically, he chose nechoshet. Zohar Kabbalah says that silver represents chesed, represents kindness. Gold represents power. But copper represents rachamim, represents mercy. Before the Kohanim are going to do Avodat HaKodesh and they're washing their hands with water, right? They're bringing this, they're owning their hands, like the rabbi said. They're bringing this concept together, the water, they're pouring the water on their hands. They're doing it specifically with what? With the utensil, with the kior that is made from copper. But it's not the only time that we see the connection between nechoshet and mayim. In Sefer Melachim, okay, when Shlomo HaMelech, the wisest of all men, okay, when he built the Bet HaMikdash, as you know, Shlomo HaMelech made something called Yam Shlomo, which was built on 12 cows that are made of copper. The Yam itself was made of copper. This was made for the Kohanim to immerse in before doing Avodat HaKodesh. Again, what do we see? We see nechoshet. What's going on here? Water, nechoshet, water. What's happening? What is the concept of nechoshet? To understand why copper. Now, copper in itself is a natural antibacterial. Copper has tremendous healing qualities to it. You could read loads and loads and loads of articles about this. It has what is called it's an oligodynamic effect on bacteria, which means that it kills microbes. This is a very, very big reason why in hospitals, they would use copper for doorknobs in an effort to minimize the spread of germs, because copper does not retain impurity. And so when Hashem is choosing the material to use, to utilize for washing the hands before doing Avodat HaKodesh, what does he choose? He chooses nechoshet. Think about this for a moment. Tum'ah. Tum'ah is the ability to cling to anything that is alive. What do we know? Mayim is mayim chayim. It's alive. So what does copper do? When you pour water, or when water comes from a copper vessel, and copper is this natural antibacterial, think about copper sort of like a force field. The copper, where the water is coming into the cup, the copper acts like a force field that prevents the tum'ah from touching the mayim chayim, the water that is inside. So that when we're pouring the water onto our hands, what is coming to our hands is 100% pure waters. Now, again, this is not copper, you can say copper plated, nah. Raw copper. Why? Because the raw copper has to touch the water itself in order for this effect to take place. Now, this doesn't mean, and let me make sure I state this because it's important. This does not mean that if you do Netilat Yadayim with a cup that's not copper, that your Netilah doesn't count. That's ridiculous. Not true. You could do Netilat Yadayim with any cup. Of course, as the rabbi said, you need to have, it has to be a cup that can stand on its own. And it's best that the cup is made of something substantial. Again, Part of it as well, in terms of using nechoshet, is a hidur mitzvah, right? For example, when we have Chanukah, right? Of course, we can have a simple Chanukiah. It's not a problem. But what do? We want to have a beautiful Chanukiah, to make hidur mitzvah, to take that mitzvah and take it even to a higher level. So when choosing, what better than choosing what Hashem himself chose, which is what? Which is nechoshet. Now, copper also has a lot of connection with fertility, with abundance, with health. Let's use a couple of examples here. In the Torah, okay, in Sefer Bamidbar, when there was the plague, Hashem said to Moshe, what did Moshe use in order to make the nachash? That they said that anybody that looked at the nachash was healed. What was it made of? Nachash, nechoshet, made of copper. We all know, right? Very often on ambulances, you see the staff with the snake around it. Nachash, nechoshet, specifically was asked to bring nachash, nechoshet. And I want to show you something, just so that you can see where you can find additional information about a lot of the sources that I'm going to be sharing here. Not only about from the Torah, but in addition to that, the concept of copper itself. So I want to show you just a few things. I'm going to just share my screen so that you can know how to get here. When you go to netillah.com, okay, and you click, you have here history and you have why copper. This is here in order for you to see the connection, okay, specifically with why copper and the history of copper within the Torah. So if you go into the history over here, you're going to be able to see loads of small details here. For example, as it says over here, we know that there's 613 mitzvot in the Torah, right? Later on, Chazal, they established the mitzvah of washing of hands as an essential part of serving Hashem. This is only one of 7 mitzvot added by our Chachamim. There are 620 altogether, 613 from the Torah, 7 that were established also by Chachamim, one of which was Netilat Yadayim, to recognize and understand what this is. As we know, of course, the whole concept is about the impurities, but we know that Torah and Kabbalah state, as it has here, and I have sources within here that you can look at afterwards, that there are mystical qualities associated with good health, fertility, livelihood, and purity. And they say that those who perform the mitzvah and Netilah on a regular basis find that it brings a tremendous amount of spiritual awareness into their lives in a very, very short period of time. Now, what's important, what I want to bring some attention to, is how also to properly perform the mitzvah of Netilah. Some of us may know, some of us may not know. Now, the Netilat Yadayim of the morning is different than the Netilat Yadayim before you have bread. There are different Netilat Yadayim, okay? And I'm going to just share a little bit about both here with you. As you could see here, the steps. The Netilat Yadayim in the morning, okay? Again, everything mitzvot are beginning with the right hand, okay? So you hold the washing cup with your right hand. You fill it with water. Don't be scared of water. Guys, the water, I know we're rushing. We have to go. We're late. We have to do this thing. Understand something. This mitzvah, it said when Shlomo HaMelech spoke about bringing this mitzvah down to the everyday people, it says a bat kol came from Shamayim and said, Shlomo yafet tikanta. It's amazing what you've just established for humankind. Okay, and the concept of connected also with Netilah here. The idea is fill the cup with water, pour it on your hands. This is beracha, beracha. The more water, the better. You fill it up with your right hand. You transfer the cup over to your left hand. Okay, so you're filling it up with your right, you're transferring it to your left, and then you pour the water on your right hand. The idea is to not be confused. You place the cup down. You never transfer the cup from your left hand to your right hand. You transfer from your right to your left, not from your left to your right. When you need to transfer from your left to your right, you put the cup down, just like it says. You pick it back up with your right hand, you refill it, and then you pour it onto your left hand, and then so on and so forth. After you repeat this, so it's 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, right? After you do this, you are supposed to rub your hands together to remove the excess water, but not to dry it. You're then going to then place your hands in front of you. You're supposed to raise your hands, just like the rabbi said, up to your eye level. And again, the reason behind this, the reason of raising your hands up to your eye level, okay, is that you're seeing your hands. We know that when you make a beracha, it's good to look, for example, let's say you're eating an apple, look at the apple. This is something amazing. Hashem created this. That's an absolute crazy thing. This came from the dirt, okay? You look at it, and then you say, Borei Pri Ha'etz, you're infusing it with a lot more kavanah. It's a crazy thing if you think about the bracha that you're making on an apple or anything that you're eating. The same thing is true with the Netilat Yadayim. When you look at it, and as we know this, we spoke about it during the Tehillim festival, that when you're saying Tehillim, also they say it's good for you to see the person. Some people, I always do this, but I have a picture of the person that I'm praying for in front of me. Why? Because when you see something, your kavanah, your intention is that much stronger. So we place it in front of us. Then we say the beracha, and then is when we are going to dry our hands. And this is how we best perform the mitzvah of Netilat Yadayim. I want to share just one more thing before we're going to get to our next speaker. It says that Am Yisrael, and again, I'm going to just share my screen so you could see where this is located, okay? When you go onto the site and you're going to click onto Why Copper, you will see over here, and I'm not going to go through all these sources right now because we don't have the time, but you'll see here the spiritual benefits of copper, and you'll also see the health benefits of copper, various health benefits that are associated with copper itself. But in addition to that, you're going to see a bunch of sources here, okay? Some of them which we already discussed, which we spoke about, of Shlomo HaMelech. There's also sources here that talk about its connection with fertility. You're going to see many, many sources here, but it says that copper is also connected to Am Yisrael. Am Yisrael was very, very much connected to copper. Why? So I want to tell any of you that won the copper cup. This is raw inside, raw copper, because the copper has to touch the water. Outside has a gloss. It's still 100% copper, but a gloss, so it's nice and shiny. But I always tell people when they get this cup, I said, this is going to become black. It's okay. You want that because that means this is raw copper. You know how you clean copper? Very easy. You take a piece of lemon, you dip it into salt, you rub it, it comes off like magic. It's the craziest thing. It says that Am Yisrael is compared to copper. Why? Because we make averot, we make mistakes, we do things that are wrong, we like dirty our neshama, but we're easy to clean, just like the copper. All we need is a little bit of lemon, a little bit of salt, we just a little bit of rubbing, we're good as new. We have the ability, the ability to make teshuvah, to completely clean our neshama and come back just shiny and fresh. This is how Am Yisrael is compared to copper. So I hope that you've gained from this. Please feel free to check it out. The information is there for you. There's loads of different things there showing that when you're actually in the midst of doing Netilat Yadayim, there's an aura. They've been able to see this, that when a person is in the midst of doing a mitzvah, not just Netilat Yadayim, there's actually an aura that is around them. It's the most wild thing. There's a video on the site that actually explains this to you. It's something incredible. And I pray that all of us over this week, as we're going to be doing Netilat Yadayim, even if we do it already and we're just used to doing it, we're going to stop, take those extra few seconds so we can bring this beracha into our lives. And I want to hear all the stories of the berachot and the abundance that are going to come into each and every one of your lives as a result of it. I love you all and wishing you all a Chag Sameach.